and welcome to Full Court Press here on Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle, where our Full Court Press section is strictly Denver Nuggets, as we are located here in Denver, as you can tell by what both Matt and I are wearing. Matt, I'm not taking any chances tonight. I wore that not that exact jersey that you're wearing, but my Aaron Gordon jersey to the game on Sunday and screwed up the entire game by wearing something different. I have worn this Nikola Jokic jersey every game these playoffs except for the one on Sunday. And look what happened.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
Just a little bit. Me too. Just a little tiny bit. We're undefeated in this one. When I wear this one so far,
Yeah.
so
0-0.
0-0.
It's looking good so far.
0-0, baby.
Yeah. So that's why we are wearing what we are wearing, and so that's gotta keep that energy the same right now.
We wear caps and sleeves at this level, son. We wear caps and sleeves at this level, son.
Lou Brown apparently doesn't like it.
Lou
So
Brown.
give him the Ricky. So we are here for about 20-25 minutes as we get ready for Game 3 down in South Beach. Matt, first of all, a couple questions for you. Number one, where's your panic level at heading into Game 3 as the Nuggets drop their first home playoff game this season, snaps a 7-game playoff winning streak? And also, Matt, they haven't lost at home since March 30th when they actually got destroyed by the New Orleans Pelicans. Couldn't tell you who was playing and what was going on then because it's all playoffs all the time now. So where's your panic meter at right now from 1 to 10? 10 being you better grab me from this ledge.
I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not too panicked. I would say I'm about a 3 or a 4 maybe. And the only reason why I'm at about a 3 or 4 is because the coach just questioned effort in Game 2 of the finals, NBA Finals, and that's a little concerning. How much of that was coach speak and trying to fire up his guys? I don't know because again, we're Game 2 of the NBA Finals, so I don't know why we were trying to do that. So that right there, that whole little deal there was kind of concerning to me. That the way it was brought up, the way Michael Malone went through it. So, but other than that, I wasn't, as far as the game, how the game goes, they played a bad game effort wise. They truly did. And I felt like the game before that, you could have pointed some issues there that you saw in this game in Game 2. So they've had two pretty, not their best games at all, and definitely the second one was probably their worst one here in at least, since maybe the Phoenix series. I don't even know if they played one like that in the Phoenix series, but you got to tip your hat to Miami. The way they played and it was, hustle, effort, grit, heart, all that good stuff that you hear about the Miami Heat. And they shot 50% from the three, made 17 of them. It was something crazy. So other than that, I'm about a 3 or 4, I'd say.
Look, I'm always a 10, probably near a 12. I have the same amount of anxiety and nervousness if it's a 1-point lead or if it's a 50-point lead. Like that's just, I can't even eat during games anymore. It's bad. So I'm going to be playing basketball at the rec during the game. So I'm going to be distracted. I don't know what's going to be going on. I know I'm just going to be running to the bleachers, checking my phone every time I get a chance. So it's going to be hectic tonight, and I'm not ready for it. I think the Nuggets will be fine. I will say that. And like you mentioned, Miami had to do so much to only win by 3 in that game. They had a 36-point fourth quarter, Matt. Mm-hmm. That is, I don't know that. So this is what I said on, when was the game? On Sunday after the game on Full Court Press post-game show. And that was, this is how I thought the Nuggets would look in Game 1.
Right.
After that 10-day layoff. This is how I thought they would look in Game 1, where you had 10 days off. You just kind of were sitting around. You had practice here and there. So, and they came out juiced in Game 1, you could tell. and kind of let it slip in the fourth quarter, just like we saw in this game 2, but this time it caught up to them. And again, game 1, Miami was not hitting. Max Strus was 0 for 10. Again,
Right.
him and Caleb Martin were mad that Scooby the dog had more points than them at halftime. And Caleb Martin still has been a non-factor as we head into game 3. He went from probably should have and could have been the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Matt, to having 2 points in 2 games.
Right.
That's where Caleb Martin is right now. And I think reports that where he was a little bit sick, Aaron Gordon was sick, Gabe Vincent, I guess, was under the weather. So some kind of sickness is spreading around. So this is how I thought they would look in game 1. And again, Lod had to go right for Miami. You had a non-goaltending call. Again, live, it's kind of hard to tell when it's bang, bang.
Right.
Don't know why some of these calls weren't challenged, but you can't challenge a call that wasn't whistled. So if that play would have been whistled goaltending, Eric Spoelstra would have had the chance to challenge it because it would have been called something. So you can't challenge anything that doesn't have a whistle. And also, I asked you about it, Jimmy Butler stepping out of bounds. So there's 5 points right there that were basically taken away from the Nuggets and given to the Heat, I should say.
Right. And those are tough. And also the Heat were shooting free throws with 9 minutes. They were in the bonus with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And with all of that just kind of piling up with the Nuggets, the fighting the whistle, fighting that, and then having those breaks go again. And that's another thing with what kind of had to happen for Miami is they had to win those 50-50 situations. That Jimmy Butler stepping out of bounds, that's a 50-50 situation. This time the official didn't get it. Next time the official maybe will get it and they won't get that 3. In the same way on the other end with the goaltend. Usually in those situations, they'll blow it and say it is a goaltend, and then they'll give the opportunity to look at it. That's usually how it works, but it didn't go there, which was shocking. So they lost those 50-50 times. And when the effort is not there and that team's making the shots and the threes that they're doing and scoring Duncan Robinson 10 points off the bench in 2 minutes or whatever it seemed like, and then you're not winning those 50-50 whistles and those 50-50 balls, it's going to be tough to win. And they still had a chance to tie the game. That's the thing, that they still were there. They were still able to turn it on when they needed to, which is crazy.
Right. So they had a couple calls went Miami's way. There were some other, again, seeing it live, it's bang, bang. But when they show the replay on the Jumbotron, you're like, that should have been called or whatever. Again, the Jimmy Butler out of bounds was on the complete opposite side, so none of us saw it. There was people closer to it that were booing, and then the refs you suck chant went on. So yeah, game 2 was almost a flip-flop of what happened in game 1. Game 1, Miami didn't make their shots. Nuggets did. Game 2, Nuggets didn't make their shots. Miami did. Max Strus came out and hit his first 4 3-pointers of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, he's left wide open. Again, we heard Michael Porter in one of the media sessions either yesterday, I think it was yesterday, saying, just defensive breakdowns. They're almost, I want to say they're like stealing our signs in baseball. They're hearing us say switch, which that's not giving away any, White House secrets. Everyone yells switch. Like even in rec ball, Matt, someone's coming to screen on the right side. You yell on your right or whatever. Yeah. So that's just common language in basketball. Everyone's telling Michael Porter to shut up. You're giving away too many secrets. This is not football, Matt, where it's one and done and you have to figure things out on the fly to beat a team in the playoffs. This is a 7-game series. Everybody knows everything already. It's no secret that and Steve Kerr, I don't know if you heard Steve Kerr on Draymond Green's podcast saying,
yep,
Jokic is going to dominate. Yep. And that's what worked for Miami in game 2, Matt. They let Jokic score and basically cut off his resources because he only had 4 assists. And now the Nuggets are 0-3 when Jokic scores 40+ in the playoffs. But how about this, Matt? They are 13-3 when Jamal Murray scores 30+ in the playoffs dating back to 2019. And that's with him missing 2 playoff runs. So, take that for what you will as well. So, Murray, again, Michael Porter hits one of those 3-point shots, it's tied. KCP makes one of his. I mean, there's just so many that had to go Miami's way on top of playing a perfect game. And I still don't think they have enough to beat this Nuggets team. But now that the home court is taken away from Denver, Matt, they have to steal one in Miami now, which they can. It's possible because Miami really hasn't been that great at home in the playoffs.
Right. And we've seen them lose games. We've seen them not show up at, like you said, at home in the playoffs. We've seen them do that. So there is that aspect. And like you said too, also when the Nuggets are humming, there's just not enough that Miami can do. They can run Kevin Love out there. They can run Zeller out there. You know, I mean, Love had a bigger impact on that game initially in the beginning, with even made 2 buckets. He had 2 threes. He was 2 for 3 or 2 for 4, I think, from 3-point line or something like that. But anyway, those are the only 2 buckets he made. But you could tell he had an impact on there. But even then, when they really got it going in that second quarter, they went on a 26-3 run, and that was with Joker on the bench. And then I don't know what it was. If it was a lack of just not taking it serious from the defensive end, like, oh, I'm not going to go over there because I'm not going to worry about that guy because they didn't make any shots last time. If that was in their thought, if that was what they were thinking, that's kind of, it's worrying if that was the thought. But when the Nuggets are going and they're playing the Nuggets basketball the way that they do, when Joker's doing what he does, and Steve Kerr also in that podcast with Draymond Green said he would blitz Jamal Murray, and they did that. And I even mentioned that too, and we've talked about that on the Wheelhouse. What do you do to the Nuggets? You blitz Jamal Murray, you hound him up the floor, and that's what they were doing a lot of times in that fourth quarter. Is they were pressuring the ball all the way from when they got it in, and they weren't letting him get down the floor and set up comfortably. So that could be something that you could watch. But again, they still had to make the 50% from the 3. I keep going back to that because that is huge. That's just so big, and to still only lose by 3 points. It's just,
Yeah, so a lot had to go Miami's way. Making shots was something they did in game 2 that they didn't do in game 1. And this will be my last thing about game 2 before we move really quickly here to what game 3 would look like. Every starter for the Nuggets was in the minus, by the way. Michael Porter Jr., the highest with minus 15. He got benched in the 4th, had to come back out because KCP fouled out. Those 2 guys, Matt, once again, did not play a great game. 11 combined points from 2 of your starters, and we touched on it after game 1. Caleb Martin, Max Strus combined for 2 points in game 1 for Miami. That's 2 of your starters combining for only 2 measly points. And so all the bench guys for the Nuggets, Matt, how about Bruce Brown plus 14, Jeff Green plus 12, Christian Brown plus 8. I mean, Christian Brown had a hell of a game too, despite the loss. I mean, he was just everywhere. I know it's not going to, show up in the stat sheet. 3 of 3 from the field, 3 steals. It seemed like he had 10 steals. Yeah. He was just everywhere. Just getting hands and fingers on the ball. Deflections and stuff like that's not going to show up on the box score, but it seemed like he was everywhere. So my question for you is, and it's kind of a 2-part question. Number 1, will Michael Porter Jr. have a shorter leash going forward, starting tonight? Or do you play? I mean, these bench guys played, and that's when things were humming, Matt.
Yeah.
When Jeff Green hit that 3, the crowd went absolutely berserk. When Christian Brown had that dunk, everyone was going crazy. Do they have a short leash on Michael Porter Jr.? And I'm leaving Bruce Brown out of this because he's obviously the most consistent bench guy. I mean, he's only one of 3 bench guys to play anyway.
Yeah.
But do you see a scenario where, hey man, if Christian Brown has given us 15 minutes in which he shoots 3 for 3 with 3 steals, I mean, that might be more beneficial for you than Michael Porter shooting, 3 of 10.
Right. And the thing I think could happen is if Michael Porter isn't getting it going on the offensive end, because he kind of even was saying during his presser or something along the lines of that he can take. I think it was Gabe Vincent when he said when he has Gabe Vincent on him, he feels like he can take him every single time. Well, he better do that tonight. He better do something like that tonight and get to the rack and get to the start working that. He has to work in to out is when he gets really going. If he gets going offensively and he still is making some of the defensive errors, I think the leash will be a little bit longer because he's contributing there. But if he's not doing anything offensively and the defense is just glaring, yeah, I don't see no reason why you wouldn't see a quicker sub for Christian Braun or Bruce Brown or Jeff Green, whoever would be get that spot right there. And for whatever reason, MPJ gets pulled, because I think he could get pulled for either or. He was one of the guys that were upset about not making shots and getting all pity party and down on themselves. When that happens, those dudes are useless on the defensive end. When they're down about, I mean, even you see it in the rec league and when you play, when guys aren't making shots, they get down on themselves and then they're useless. So if he falls into that mindset again, if he misses a couple shots early, you could see a quick leash on that for that scenario too. So yeah, I do think that it all goes. We'll see how it goes early. I think he'll go his initial minutes, but if he starts blowing assignments, I think it'll be a quick timeout and he'll be out.
Yeah, speaking of timeouts, Michael Malone had a couple rage timeouts as he
early
and likely so. And I'm sorry, I said that was going to be my last point. This is my last point before we move on to game 3. Do you agree or disagree with Michael Malone not using timeouts? He had 2 timeouts during that scenario. I kind of look at it as I understand why he didn't, because then you give Miami the chance to set up and kind of see what they're putting out there. Yep. And just let the guys run. And, Jamal Murray was an inch short of tying that basketball game up and sending it to overtime. I mean, do you see anything wrong with the non-use of timeouts at the end of the game?
In that situation, I was fine with what Michael Malone did. And he's like, you hit it on the head. When you call a timeout to set up a play, then the defense has an opportunity to set up a play. And I don't know if Eric Spoelstra had a timeout. If he did, he could come out and see what they set up, and then he could call a timeout and then adjust to that. So then you have that chess match going back and forth. So there's that opportunity. Now, and when you do that, you're hoping to get your closer with the ball. You're hoping to get the ball in Jamal Murray's hand or Nikola Jokic's hand. In the situation of him not calling a timeout, you already had that happening. You already had Jamal Murray, who's one of your closers, with the ball in his hand. And like you said, he got a good look. He had Jimmy Butler on him, but he still got a good look. And I think he makes that, like, I don't know if a percentage, but he shoots that shot, I think he makes it 7 out of 10 times, it was a good shot. So they got what they wanted in that situation, as opposed to if they would have, called timeout to draw up a play. So I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was good. And like you said too, don't now you're going to put some pressure on them to make a good defensive play, not to foul. Is Nikola going to get it? Is Jamal going to shoot it? Or are they going to pass off? They had to get a 3 to tie it. So I had no problem with it. I liked it.
Yeah. So, heading into game 3 tonight, man, obviously there's going to be, counters and punches and adjustments and all of that business. We mentioned Kevin Love, and we kind of touched on it before the game even started. We'll probably see more Kevin Love
we did.
If his ankle's okay, more than Cody Zeller. We saw Cody Zeller again be a non-factor. I mean, he did have a couple weird layups. I'll give him that.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, he had some of those awkward white guy rec layups for sure.
So that's what I look like. So you had him in, but inserting Kevin Love into the lineup, Matt, allowed and now people are noticing, allowed Jimmy Butler to move over and guard Jamal Murray. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, he gave Jamal Murray a whale of a game. He did finish with 19 points, 10 assists, which, that's assisting is not really, part of Jamal's game that we are used to seeing. but he did influence the game in other ways. And let's face it, Jimmy Butler is a pretty darn good defender. He's longer than Jamal. He's taller than Jamal. So he can kind of clog up those lanes that Jamal is used to getting to with his mid-range jumpers. So keep that in mind as well. I think we'll see that going forward. Again, watching it live, Matt, you don't really notice the things as watching it on TV. You also have, color guys say,
right.
You're able to watch replay, slow the game down, and say, hey, the zone is affecting the Nuggets. Is the zone affecting the Nuggets offense as much as people are giving credit to Miami for?
There's situations where it alters what they want to do, like that screen and roll is not effective because they're not really rolling off of it. They're not really switching. They're kind of staying under anyway. So there's no adjustment to hit the get an open guy. But and that's kind of the situation with the way they do that zone. But I think in the fourth quarter, what really affected them the most was the ball pressure. It wasn't allowing Murray to – he likes to walk the ball up the floor, and he likes to kind of get it to Nikola. And you saw that too in the fourth quarter. And sometimes in the first quarter, first half even, and sometimes I see it in the third quarter, but not so much in the fourth quarter. You'll see Aaron Gordon bring the ball up. You'll see Nikola bring the ball up. You'll see Bruce Brown, Michael Porter Jr., somebody other than Murray or Nikola bring the ball up. But in the fourth quarter, it's always typically Jamal or Nikola. So when that ball pressure, constant ball pressure up the floor, I think bothered Murray and didn't get him. He wasn't comfortable, and he wasn't able to really get off those brush screens to get around Nikola. You know how they usually do that 2-man game up there. So I don't think it was that effective. But I as far as the zone goes, yeah, it affects some things that they want to do, but I don't think it's going to stop what they want to do. I think the ball pressure affected them more in that fourth quarter than that zone did.
So does Eric Spoelstra turn off the AC? It reminded me of when in The Office they were getting ready to go down to Florida and they're in the conference room and Dwight put like mosquitoes and insects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what Michael Malone did?
He's got him in the locker room. It's like a sauna. He's making him wear beach shirts, cabana wear.
Yeah.
And he's got him sweating with.
Again, I'm not going to turn off the AC because then the fans will start to complain. So, All right, game 3 tonight, Matt. Nuggets have to win one of these 2 games in Miami to take back home court advantage. What do you see heading into game 3 as it gets going here very soon?
Man, this is an opportunity for Michael Malone to make adjustments. We've talked about it in the past that he really hasn't had the opportunity to make adjustments where it's coming off of a loss where there was something that was different, something that they could do. So I think we're going to see the opportunity for Michael Malone to make adjustments. And if he doesn't and they lose again, then now we're going to start questioning, okay, when do you start kind of breaking into that rotation? When do you start changing some things? When do you start, we haven't seen them run multiple bigs. One of the things in the Boston series was they would run multiple bigs out there, whether it was Robert Williams or it was Al Horford, or they would run that kind of like that situation where they would have multiple bigs out there, and it could affect the way Miami does things in the paint and the way Jimmy Butler likes to do things. It could make other guys play different types of defense. So I don't know what that's going to consist of. If that means less minutes for Michael Porter Jr., I don't think Aaron Gordon would lose those minutes, but I'm wondering if that's going to be something that maybe that Michael Malone does. I don't think he's going to make a lot of adjustments. I think he's going to come out and he's going to have a better message to this team. I would be surprised to see the lack of effort that we saw in the amount of spurts that we saw in that game. I would be surprised to see that. If we do see that again, Mike, then my panic level is going to go up a little bit more.
Yeah, and what kind of adjustments do you expect Malone to make? Because he's been known as if it's not broke, don't fix it. And now a lot of people are noticing, the Nuggets do not have a rim protector.
No.
Well, no, because, again, like you said on Sunday on the Wheelhouse, Matt, every Sunday, 8 o'clock, by the way, in the morning, if Nikola, you worked on it, he could probably be a pretty good rim protector. But, he's kind of focused on other things. and he always gets dragged to the top of the key where, let's face it, a quicker guy is going to blow by him every time. He doesn't
Mhm.
rack up a lot of fouls, but because he's smart and just lets the guy kind of go by him like
Right.
like MPJ should have done when Bam was going for that dunk. You're not going to block the dunk. Just let him have it.
Right.
And again, that goes to a whole nother thing. But I mean, again, questioning Michael Malone's rotation is the definition of crazy mad, just expecting different results. It's not going to happen. But now that so many people are noticing, there's just people are getting to the rim. Not much in this series, but people are getting to the rim almost at will. I mean, again, not this series. Miami lives and dies by the 3-pointer.
Yeah, for sure.
That's their game. They're not going to drive to the rim unless, I don't know, something miraculous happens. Jimmy Butler will, Kyle Lowry will, a couple guys will. But why not? I guess if this was a different series, Matt, and guys were going to the rim, would you have to almost expect Michael Malone to throw a DeAndre Jordan out there, to throw a Thomas Bryant out there, to rim protect? And not only that, now you don't even need rim protection in this series just to help Nikola grab rebounds. You know how many offensive rebounds? They had 5 offensive rebounds on one possession in game 2, Matt.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. Like, I'm not I until we see him make adjustments, I don't think he will. I think he'll just be status quo, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think he will. But I'm with you. I agree. I would love to see some DeAndre Jordan minutes. I would love to see, because you would right now, it's the big man rotation is basically Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Those guys are your quote unquote bigs. So if you bring in a true big in DeAndre Jordan or Thomas Bryant, I think it would be DeAndre Jordan in this situation. And maybe even like, I don't know if Zeke Naji would be somebody that's longer, but Bam Adebayo is getting a lot of those shots around the rim, around the free throw line. Like, could you come in and bring him maybe as like a presence there to okay, we're not going to maybe get these off, because if I roll off this pick, or if I come down, I might have DeAndre Jordan in my face. And then that could, like you said, letting it almost like a meat shield for Nikola Jokic, and DeAndre. Those guys could take those roles when you get a bigger guy and then come from behind him, try to swat him, or eat the fouls up there, so they can kind of at least make them think twice for going in there. I would love to see that. Is Michael Malone going to do it? I doubt it, because there's just nothing that gives us an example that he will. But I'd love to see it.
Do you think it would preserve Aaron Gordon a little bit more, though? Because he's going out with about, I don't know what it is in the first. He goes out with about a few minutes left. And then, when they make the switch to the second unit in the second quarter, sometimes late in the first quarter, Aaron Gordon comes back out and is now your center.
Right.
Would it preserve Aaron Gordon if they didn't use him that much? I mean, we see higher offensive numbers for Gordon. We already know about his defense. Jimmy Butler only has 13 and 21 points in 2 games. And again, maybe Jimmy Butler is like Jokic and just takes the game as it comes to him, so he doesn't need to do all that. But he was basically non-existent in game 1. Game 2, you felt his offense a little bit more, and you especially felt his defense because he was on Jamal Murray basically the entire game. But would it preserve Aaron Gordon if you threw DeAndre Jordan out there for 5 minutes? Somebody. Even if you keep Aaron Gordon at the 4 coming back in with the second unit, because then now you have Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon, and again, for sake of argument's sake, DeAndre Jordan. That's a pretty good second unit. And now you have a rim protector. Not only that, you have a guy who can rebound with you in Aaron Gordon.
Right.
Defend.
And you guys could, and you could, DeAndre Jordan can do some things too on the offensive end that could be something that can make, whether it's Bam Adebayo or Kevin Love, Zeller, or whoever is in at that time, can make them play a different type of defense because he presents different problems. But you can also too, like, okay, let him go out there and let us see what it looks like in the first half, that first rotation. Why the hell not? And then if it doesn't work, or if it's a failed deal and it's just not going to work out, then you don't have to go back to it the next time in the second half. You don't have to put him back in there, but just to just to see, just to give it, just to throw something different out there, a different look, a different, whoa, we haven't seen this the entire playoffs. I would be in for it. I'm not real. I don't know if he's going to do it, but I would be in for it.
Yeah. So that would be the only thing that I would present to Michael Malone if I had the resources to do so. Just, not even 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just see what it looks like. Just let us see what it looks like.
Eric Gordon, I get it. He's your best, probably you're obviously one of your top 2 defenders. And I think it would be pretty beneficial for him to grab a couple more minutes on the bench resting. And again, if you need to throw him back out there, you can throw him out there at the 4. Right. Then he can still defend the best player that Miami throws out there for their second unit. So I don't know. That's what I would present to him, because now everyone's starting to notice there is 0 rim presence on defense for the Nuggets. But again, in this series, you probably don't need it as much because, again, Miami lives and dies by the 3-pointer.
And that's another case where you can present a Peyton Watson who's a longer guy, a Zeke Naji who's a longer guy, a Thomas Bryant who's a longer guy that can bother those 3-point shooters, but also still stay packed in with deep closeouts because they're long. There's other options, to guard those 3-pointers with the length that Denver has on its bench.
Yeah, so we'll see. Game 3 tips off here in just a couple of minutes, Matt. So we're going to get on out of here. Prediction: what happens tonight?
Oh man, I don't want to say it, but I think the Nuggets lose, dude.
Yeah, I'm just so.
I do. I think they lose. I think it's going to be a close game, and they lose by like 4 or 5 towards the end.
Yeah, I'm always nervous, no matter what. I mean, I'm praying for like a 30-point blowout just to make the sleep a little bit better. But
yeah,
I mean, I could honestly at this point I could see it going both ways. I could see Miami. This is their first home game in the NBA Finals this year, so they're going to be jacked up, ready to go. So I don't know. I still think the Nuggets are a better team, but I can see it going both ways.
I had this game picked as Miami's first win of the series. I had them either winning the first game there in Denver or winning this game here, first one. So I still think that's still the case.
Yeah, so we will see. Yeah, we will see what happens, because this is going to be an interesting game, and we're not in the must-win category. But if they lose tonight, Matt, Game 4 is definitely must-win
for sure. And it presents a different look, something that Nuggets haven't had to deal with this season. Trying to come back from being down. What would that make them? That would make them 2 games to 1.
Yeah. So,
they haven't had to do that yet.
We'll see. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. So we'll see what happens in Miami in just a couple of minutes. But we're going to get out of here. I'm not good at predictions, but I am wearing.
Me neither.
I am wearing, hopefully, the lucky jersey. Knock on wood. Whatever.
Undefeated, never lost.
There you go. 500, 0-0 at least. All right, this has been Full Court Press on Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Once again, check out e5280sports.com. Check out the socials, everything going on there. Really quickly, Matt, Chris Paul waived by the Phoenix Suns.
Get him, baby. Next year, back up Jamal. I have no problem with that. No problem with it.
We need some more senior citizens on this team.
We do.
Jeff Green can't be the only one going to Denny's at 6 a.m. Come on.
Drinking coffee.
Reading the old school newspaper, too. All right. For Matt Mascarenas, I am Michael Spillane. We will get out of here. Enjoy the game.